Hello dear students. In this session, let's discuss the topic of transpose of a tensor. Before moving to transpose of a tensor, let's see what is transpose of a matrix. If I have a matrix A as like this, then transpose of A will be this is my transpose of A. That means in order to find the transpose of a matrix, you just interchange rows and columns. So in the case of tensor, transpose of a tensor, what we will do is, from here onwards, we usually consider only second order tensors. Okay, second order tensors. I will denote that as A. The components will be of Aij form. This is how we define transpose of a tensor. Aij whole transpose is equal to Aj. That means here I and J refers the positions or rows and columns. So if you interchange rows and columns, you will get a transpose of that tensor. Okay. So suppose that Aij or tensor components. Here there is a question, one question which arises is, if Aij is a matrix of a tensor, then the transpose we will get, no, Aij transpose, is it a tensor or not? Tensor or not? That means, is it a second order tensor or not? This is what we have to verify here. The answer is yes, because since Aij are tensor components, I can write Aij transpose as Bij in all coordinate system. So that means Bij is equal to Aj, because transpose of matrix means in your original matrix the position gets changed, that is rows and columns gets interchanged. From that I can write Bij is equal to Aj. So this implies B prime Ij will be equal to A prime Ji. Okay. So from transformation rule, we know that alpha Jm alpha In into Amn. This is for A prime Ij. If I consider B prime Ij, it will be alpha In alpha Jm Bnm. So that means even Bij is also second order tensor. Okay, so this transformation rule shows that Bij is also a component of second order tensor. So I can write Bij is equal to Aj, which is equal to Aij transpose. This new tensor is called as transpose of the tensor A. Okay, this is the transpose of tensor A, and we denote this as At. T means transpose. Thus, if A is a tensor with matrix Aij, then At will be the transpose of A. So I can write A transpose is equal to matrix A transpose. This is nothing but this. Here what we have done, this is just a transpose, direct transpose of a matrix. This is matrix A After that you are transposing. Means if you look at the example, this is A transpose. This will be equal to, if you write matrix, then if you take transpose also, you will get this. That's what I have written here. A transpose is equal to matrix A whole transpose. So using transpose of a tensor, we have some set of properties which we may use in further topics. So A transpose whole transpose will be equal to A. That is, if you consider a matrix, you will take transpose of this, you will get this matrix. If you take transpose of this matrix again, you will get the same thing. So A transpose whole transpose is equal to A. The next one is alpha A whole transpose is equal to alpha A transpose. Here alpha is scalar, so it will be any value. You will not take transpose for this. That means if I have x here, assume that x is a scalar, so you will not take any transpose for this. The next property is A plus or minus B whole transpose is equal to A transpose plus or minus B transpose. You can take an example and you can verify this. Next one is AB whole transpose is equal to B transpose A transpose. You can take an example and check these two properties. The next topic is inverse of a tensor and orthogonal of a tensor. Inverse of a tensor and orthogonal of a tensor. So here a tensor is said to be invertible, that is there exists an inverse. If there exists, I can say A is a tensor. Okay, this A is said to be inverse or invertible. If there exists another tensor, we denote that as A inverse, such that A inverse is equal to I. If this condition holds good, then we can say A is a inverse tensor. A is a inverse of a, A inverse is a inverse of a tensor A. This is the condition for inverse of a tensor. Then orthogonal. So here A is said to be orthogonal tensor if A is a invertible. Okay, there will be inverse for A. I will say A is a orthogonal if A is invertible and you will denote that A inverse as A transpose if and only if A transpose is equal to I, which is equal to A transpose A. If this condition holds good, then you will say A is orthogonal. Okay. Even here also there are some properties. A inverse whole inverse is equal to A. A inverse whole transpose can be rewritten as A transpose whole inverse. A inverse A inverse is equal to some vector A that I can rewritten as A inverse into vector A. Okay, sorry, there is some this property is not correct. I will rewrite it here. A inverse A is equal to vector A, which is equal to A inverse A into vector A. You can rewritten like this. This is for any vector A. And the last property is AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse. Again, you may use these properties in the next coming topics. Now, if we will find out the value of A transpose, right? If this A transpose is equal to A, then we call such tensor as symmetric tensors. Symmetric tensors. And if A transpose is equal to minus A, then A is said to be skew symmetric tensors. Skew symmetric tensors. Okay. Using the properties of transpose of a tensor, now I can write A plus A transpose whole transpose as A transpose plus A. This is nothing but A plus A transpose. Similarly, I can write A minus A transpose whole transpose as A transpose minus A, which is nothing but I will take out minus common. So, A minus A transpose. Okay. So, now this is what we call as symmetric tensor. And this will be skew symmetric tensor. This part is skew symmetric tensor. Okay. Now I can write tensor A as half into A plus A transpose plus half into A minus A transform. This half into A transform and half into minus A transform gets cancelled. So I will get 2A by A, 2 gets cancelled. It will be equal to A itself. So here the first term represent symmetric tensor. We write that as SYM of A, and this is skew symmetric tensor. We will denote that as SKW of A. Okay. So this means the tensor half A plus AT is a symmetric part of A, and this is skew symmetric part of A. This means that every tensor A may be represented as a sum of symmetric tensor and skew symmetric tensor. Okay. So that means A is equal to symmetric A plus skew A. So we can represent any tensor as a sum of symmetric tensor and skew symmetric tensor. One of the important property of a skew tensor is existence of DL vector. Okay, existence of a DL vector of a tensor. So using this theorem, let's prove that. The statement says that given a skew tensor A, there exists unique vector W such that AU is equal to omega cross U, W cross U for every U, and conversely given AW, there exists a unique skew tensor A such that AU is equal to W cross U whole for every U. So this W is nothing but a DL vector or the axial vector of the tensor. So what we supposed to prove? They have given one skew tensor. So from that there exists a unique vector W such that this is the form. This is the first part we supposed to prove. Conversely, they have given there exists a unique skew tensor. We have to prove AU is equal to W cross U. So here this is a second order tensor. So I can write it as vector Aij. So since A is a skew tensor, we can write Aij is equal to minus Aj. Okay. So now I can write Aij as half into Aij minus Aj, because since it is a skew tensor, we can write Aij is equal to minus Aj. So in the place of minus Aj, I can substitute Aij. So Aij is 2 times of Aij. That 2 gets cancelled with this 2. So you will get Aij itself. From that, using substitution property, Aij can be rewritten as delta Ip delta Jq APQ minus Aji as delta Jp delta Jiq AQP or APQ. So from these two, I can take APQ as common into APQ. So in the beginning, we have seen epsilon delta symbol in one of the problem. So from that I can rewrite this whole term as epsilon ijk epsilon kpq into APQ. Using epsilon delta identity, I am writing this term as epsilon ijk epsilon kpq. APQ is as it is. Okay. So this will be equal to, okay, now I will consider one vector W as minus half epsilon kpq APQ. I will call this as equation 1. This is equation 2. So now this Wk is the component of vector W. This is the component of vector W. They have given there exists a new vector. So that new vector W's component is Wk. Okay. Now substitute equation 2 in equation 1. What you will get, Aij is equal to minus Wk epsilon ijk. I will call this as equation 3. So now for any vector u with component ui, I can write equation 2 as Aij ui is equal to minus epsilon ijk Wk ui. For any vector, I am just taking product with LHS and RHS. This is uj. Okay. So using scalar triple product, I can write this as minus as it is u cross w. This will be in ith component. So product of these two component will give you a third component that will be in different way. That is, if you take product for these two, cross product for these two, you will get a new vector. That new vector will be in ith component. Okay. Now here I can write this as AU ith component is equal to, if you interchange this, this minus sign will get changed to plus. So I can write U to I. So this is nothing but A into vector U is equal to W cross U. This is what we supposed to prove in the first part. That is AU is equal to W cross U when A is a skew tensor and there exists a unique vector. Now you have to keep this as a given data and you should prove that there exists a unique vector. That unique vector is a dual vector of a skew tensor. In the converse part, they have given W is a vector. So we define Aij as minus omega k epsilon ijk. So now Aij is a component of skew tensor A, and this tensor is determined using this W, correct? So we have two relations now. This relation, this whole relation leads to AU is equal to W cross U. So this means A is the tensor, okay, this A is a tensor of which W is a dual vector. So thus the proof. I repeat once again. So in the converse part, what we will do is, this is a given vector W, isn't it? So if we define Aij in this manner, then this Aij is a component of a skew tensor A. So, and we have one more thing is what we have determined that W is a uniquely formed. So from that I can write Aij is equal to minus omega k epsilon ijk. This relation gives you this relation. So from this we can conclude that W is the dual vector. The next part is deviatoric tensor. So here if I define a tensor A as a new tensor AD, okay, the given tensor is A. Now we are defining a new tensor, that is AD. AD is nothing but deviatoric tensor. So how I am defining this is A minus 1 by 3 into trace of A into I. This is how I am defining my new tensor. Okay, if Aij is a component of tensor A, then for this I can rewrite this as Aij D, that is deviatoric, is equal to Aij minus 1 by 3. Traces of A means Aii is equal to Aii prime in this form. So I can write this as Akk. Just going to another component, that's all. So I means identity. When you will get identity, when delta ij, here I is equal to j means you will get I, identity I. So I will write that as delta ij. If I is equal to j, you will get 1. So now if I is equal to j, Aii is equal to, Aiid is equal to Aii minus 1 over 3 into 3 into Akk. Why here 3? Because for all the values delta ij, if it is delta ii, then you will get 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? From that it is 3. So 1 over 3 into 3 into Akk. So this will be equal to 0. You will get this will be equal to 0. So now this means trace of A, deviatoric tensor A is equal to 0. This is we are defining for trace of A. So now if we set alpha some value, it is not equal to 0, alpha is some value, this is equal to 1 over 3 trace of A, then I can write this as 1 over 3 as it is. Trace of A is nothing but Akk. Now our expression, the expression which we have considered in the beginning, this expression will become A is equal to alpha I plus A into deviatoric tensor. That means this part will become alpha. I am just taking this term to left hand side. So I will get alpha I plus A deviatoric is equal to A. This means every tensor A can be represented as sum of two tensors. Okay. One of which is alpha I. Alpha I is nothing but here isotropic tensor. And this AD is nothing but deviatoric tensor. Whose traces will be equal to 0. So, and this representation will be unique always. Here this alpha I, we will represent this as spherical part of A, spherical part of A, and this part we will call this part as deviator part of A. And here this spherical part of A will always be symmetric. This deviator part of A will be symmetric if the tensor is symmetric. This will be symmetric if the tensor is symmetric, and the deviator part will be skew if the tensor is skew. Okay. So using this topic, let's solve one problem. This is the given tensor in matrix form. Okay, you have to find out the spherical and deviatoric part of this matrix. So how we can find out? We know that alpha is equal to 1 over 3 trace of A. You can write this trace of A as AKK. So if suffixes are equal, then it will be, the value is 3. So 1 by 3 into 3 is equal to 1. Okay. So alpha I is equal to 1 into I. This is equal to I. This will be spherical part of the given matrix, spherical part. Now I have to find out deviator part of A. So to find deviator part of A, we have formula Aij part is equal to Aij minus alpha into delta Ij. This is nothing but Aij minus alpha delta Ij. I will write the matrix 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 minus alpha into when I is equal to I, you will get 1 here, 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. This is the matrix you will get for delta Ij. So now from this spherical part, the value of I is 1, alpha is 1. So this will be 1. If you take difference of these two, you will get 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, and this is 1, 1, 1, 0. This will be the deviator part of A. Part of A. So this is all about deviatoric tensor.